Here's how you're going to stop gooning. So gooning will destroy your life. It's the most prevalent issue for young men in today's society, and it's the number one question people ask me. So this video will change your life if you can actually watch it. Firstly, the reason why gooning is so bad. So gooning is so bad for you because it destroys you as a man. It makes you feel guilty about yourself, and it literally rewires your brain so you can't enjoy life as much. Every time you give into it and you fab, you are raising your dopamine levels like 500% your normal baseline. What this does over time is it trains your brain to move its baseline dopamine higher, and it takes more of a dopamine hit to actually hit that baseline, which causes your day-to-day enjoyment of life to lower. So it will just make you feel almost numb. It will give you a sense of derealization and a sense of depression over time the more you do it. Then secondly, it destroys your energy as a man, and it drifts you away from your purpose. Every time you do it, it makes you feel numb to yourself. Your brain can't trust itself, so you start to not be able to trust your own self, and you start to just drift through life. What happens is you lose your purpose while you do this. You get addicted to comfort, and you stop craving meaning. As a human being, you stop craving meaning. You just stay fine with comfort. It's horrible. It's so bad for you. So here's how you're actually going to quit it for the rest of your life and just put an end to that addiction you have. Firstly, I think there's two ways you're going to do this. Okay, I talk a lot about this, but there's two main ways. You either need to hate yourself so much to the point of change, or you need to love yourself so much to the point of change. And now what happens is, for most people, they hate themselves so much to the point where they get in this horrible rabbit hole where they just have pure hatred for themselves, where the only viable option for them is to just fully change your life. Get on a complete different path of self-improvement. But I don't recommend going that way, because you have to go down that insufferable, horrible path. I recommend choosing the path of self-love, where you love yourself so much because you're on the path of self-improvement to the point where you have so much self-love to where you don't fall into these bad habits. Because I think quitting lust is almost like a puzzle, okay? There's multiple sections and multiple pieces you have to match together to actually fully be able to quit it and stop gooning. Self-love, self-discipline, self-respect, its habits, habitual neuroplasticity. There's all these different pieces you have to slowly start to add up, and eventually over time you're going to quit it. But I think that's the main thing: self-change, self-improvement, and self-love. Because that's how you're fully going to quit it. So I want to ask you this question. Some of it is habitual. For example, you probably have these certain times in the day in which you do it, right? Maybe it's a certain environment, okay, like it's in your room. Or it's a certain time of the day, like it's in between 7 and 8 o'clock. Like you would never do it in the morning, right? And the reason for that is because it is a habit. So your brain has trained itself over time to know, like, at this certain time of the day, it's going to feel the urge to do that. So one way you can go about it is you can rewire your brain by even just changing your environment, by changing your routine, changing your schedule, because a lot of the things we do are purely habitual. So if you can shock your body and just fully change your routine, that's one thing. Another thing is changing your environment. If you're constantly around high performers, high value people, you will find it much easier to quit and much easier to stop. Then it comes down to your internal dialogue. Do you love yourself? Because think about it. Every time you do it and you say you're not going to do it again, but you do it, you are lying to yourself. And now what this does, it makes your brain unable to truly trust itself. So every time you say you're going to do something, even as simple as, oh, I'm going to go on a run, your brain's like, who cares? You lie to yourself. It just gives you this horrible self-perception, which would destroy your life. And it would destroy your future, your ability to work, your ability to do things that you say you're going to do. And that's one of the worst pieces of this horrible thing, gooning. And another thing is, it gets extremely pushed upon in our society. You notice that? You have these creators like Sophie Ray and all these things are getting Bonnie Blue. It's getting pushed upon you. So you need to be conscious of this. The people who run this industry are making enormous amounts of money. That's why they do it. So you need to be very conscious of this and understand it's not completely your fault. And one thing you can do is just reject it. That's why there's that term, reject degeneracy. You can just reject, say, I'm done. Let me charge my phone. But you have to reject it. And you have to live a life through God. Live a life through Christ. Reject the degeneracy of the world, because there's a lot of it. And that's one way you're actually going to stop and you're actually going to quit. And then lastly, I think it's purely self-identity. I say this because I truly believe, I think the reason why most people can't quit it for good is because their self-identity is stuck. It's stuck in this loop where they Because your brain, when you have the urge to do, your brain starts to cope, right? It's because your brain doesn't really respect itself, so it starts to cope. It's like, oh, well, maybe if you do it one last time, all this stuff. It starts to cope with its own self, which is one of the most horrible things, your self-perception. And if your brain truly thought to itself that, oh, I am this guy, I am this strong guy who doesn't lust, who's beat his temptations, your brain wouldn't start coping with itself. But internally, your subconscious thinks to itself that lust has control over you. So it's an issue that you're not even aware of because your true mind is telling you these coping things. But if your mind viewed itself as a high-value person, your mind would say, no, don't do it. So your mind's almost working against you because of what you've already done to yourself. That's horrible, man. Your own mind is working against you. And the way you're going to fix this is by just doing stuff. Doing hard things that build discipline, going out for a run at 2 a.m., working for hours a day, building an empire, making money online, building a social media following. All these things, they slowly convince your mind that you're actually this high-value person. So just be careful, because I'm telling you, you need to understand how severe this really is. If you don't stop this lustful behavior you're doing, gooning, this whole social media goon, it's disgusting. If you don't stop, you're going to end up as the 60-year-old who you see, who's a pedophile, who's doing all this disgusting stuff. You are going to end up as that guy if you can't stop. So take it seriously and find God, find purpose, and change your life.